but I'm gonna go ahead so I don't forget and turn on my HUD. So at
You
least they'll
should you
see.
should call this intro episode Bushrangers Rainin' In.
I was just gonna call it explaining Bushrangers.
Ah, that's boring. Bushrangers Raining In. And why
Oh
I'll
no!
defend it is because it's a reference. Hmm?
Hold on. I keep going. Keep going. I was saying oh no because my character stood up.
Uh, gotcha. Because it's the reference to Billabong Valley, which is the whole reason why this kind of started. What inspired this whole thing
Okay.
was me talking about Mad Dog Morgan because of the song that
Alright,
comes
alright.
from.
Yeah, yeah, that
Bushrangers
is.
Raining In.
I, I guess that will be the title. I mean, it's better. I will have to change it on the list, even though this will be a. Uh,
Trust
uh,
me, it's about Brandon.
gotcha, gotcha. I understand. I understand.
Yeehaw! We got us some Bush Rangers and some Bloodborne.
That's good.
Like we already have the intro. All right. If
Welcome.
I don't know if I'm gonna keep all of this in, but I probably kept some of this in. But
Mhm.
thank you so much for tuning in to Bushrangers and Bloodborne.
Yeah, yeah, this is
It's a new
huh?
series that we're starting. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's gonna consist of 33 episodes. We actually have a plan.
hmm And it's about the most wanted men,
Well,
bushrangers,
that's
reining
what
in.
this is what this episode is about. It's explaining what bushrangers are. That's what the title was supposed to be, but it is gonna be. It's already shown. It is bushrangers reining in.
Yes, because it's about the most wanted men, bushrangers, reining in.
Yeah, but more than that, this episode we're explaining bushrangers in general, just like the
Yeah,
concept of them, and everything. And to just go ahead, our sources Wikipedia.
yeah,
Let's just put that out there. That is what we're using from here. We will probably say it every episode, but just to get it out there. And yeah, let's get into this. Bushrangers was originally escaped convicts in the early years of the British settlement of Australia, who used the bush as a refuge to hide from the authorities.
yeah. And honestly, to better understand this better is understanding what Australia was for at the time, which is basically at the time a dumping ground for criminals because they didn't want them. It was getting too full. I mean, there's like many different reasons why. I mean, like there's legitimate criminals. There's of course all the religious, like religious persecution, but definitely Australia got more of the criminals than America did. America got more of the religious, like a lot of the Puritan types of crazy people coming over there. But Australia is like it is like highwaymen that were in like Scotland or all around the UK, Ireland, England, and Australia is pretty much just the dumping ground for that.
Yep, by the 1820s, the term had evolved to refer to those who took up armed robbery under arms as a way of life, using the bush as their base.
Mhm.
Bush raging thrived during the gold rush years of the 1850s and 1860s when the likes of Ben Hall, Blue Cap, and Captain Thunderbolt roamed the countryside districts of New South Wales.
Man, that's something you don't really think about is that Australia had their own gold rush too.
Well,
I mean,
that's actually kind of common for all like
mm,
news. Like a huge boom of just like material, like new metals and materials that is bound to happen once you find new
Mm.
land. Even though
Yeah,
we've
I'm just
kind of
saying.
can't do that anymore because we've done explored all the land we can.
But I was saying is just because, like, usually when we talk about like gold rushes, like you think of the 49ers, it's very American centric, you know?
Yeah, but that's yeah, it definitely should be more seen as like a an era that happens in almost every country that has
Mhm.
been founded.
And I'm gonna be popping in with because I definitely think it's to think about Australia as the Old West, but like a whole continent.
Yeah.
Which honestly, I don't think
It's a
the
country
size.
and a continent at the same time. That's
Well,
why it's
I think the size of Australia is almost it's not too much bigger than like our West anyway, like our Wild West. So
yeah,
it's pretty.
yeah. But
There's a lot of similarities, is what I'm saying. You know, like
gotcha.
with these types of there's a flavor that like with these types of criminals, like when you compare them, especially with like more UK like English highwaymen or like pirates or something like that. That whenever I think of like bushrangers and like American outlaws of the West, they both they both have a lot of similarities in that they're in their gruffness in their outdoors. You know.
Well, yeah, these wild colonial boys, mostly Australian born sons of converts, were roughly analogs to British highwaymen and outlaws of the American Old West. And their crimes typically included robbing small town banks and coach services. In certain cases, such as the of Don Morgan and the Clark brothers, in Australia, best known bushranger Ned Kelly, numerous
Hmm.
policemen were murdered.
God
The
rest his soul.
the number of bush rangers declined due to better policing and improvements in rail transport and communication technology, such as telegraphy. Although bush rangers appeared sporadically into the early 20th century, most historians regard Kelly's capture and execution in 1880 as effectively representing the end of the bushranging era, and I stand with that. I definitely stand with that. Ned Kelly was the last of them.
I mean, what a way to go out
Yeah,
once we
oh
get there.
yeah, for sure. Definitely. Bushranging exerted a powerful influence on Australia, lasting for over a century and predominating in the eastern colonials. I fucked this up. I'm gonna just I'm keeping this in, but I'm just gonna restart this whole thing because I fucked up.
Okay, gotcha.
Bushranging exerted a powerful influence in Australia, lasting for over a century and predominating in the eastern colonies. Its origins in a convict system bred a unique kind of desperado, most frequently with an Irish political background. Native born bushrangers also express nascent Australian. God damn it, I fucked that word up too. Australian nationalist views and are recognized as the first distinctively Australian characters to gain general recognition. As such, a
I
number of bushrangers became folk heroes and symbols of rebellion against the authorities, admired for their bravery, rough chivalry, colorful personalities. However, in stark contrast to romantic portrayals in arts and popular culture, bushrangers tended to lead lives that were nasty, brutish, and short, with some earning notoriety for their cruelty and bloodthirst. Australian attitudes toward bushrangers remain complex and ambivalent.
bet. And in short, about them specifying on the Australian nationalism and them having Irish, political views. That's in short means fuck Britain.
Basically.
Yeah. I knew exactly when I heard it was Irish leading politics is like, yep, that means anti-British.
For sure. We're gonna get into the etymology of the word. The earliest document use of the term appears in a February 1805 issue of the Sydney Gazette, which reports that a cart had been stopped between Sydney and Hawkesbury by three men whose appearance sanctioned the suspicion of their being bushrangers. John Binge described bushranging in 1821 as absconding in the woods and living upon plunder and the robbery of orchards.
Kind of a
Char-
misleading name.
yeah, Charles Darwin likewise recorded in 1835 that a bushranger was an open villain whose substances by highway robbery and will sooner be killed than taken alive.
Uh, uh, Evolutionist Darwin.
Yeah, Charles Darwin had something to say about them. He said that
Hmm.
they will be fucking most of them will be shot dead because of their highway
Hmm.
robbery.
Well, he probably kisses the fucking English ass, anyways.
Oh yeah, they sponsored him.
Yeah.
All right,
Fuck him.
and of
Fuck
course
Darwin.
the the later episodes we're going to get into depth of actual like more other bushrangers, but we're going to get into the history a bit. We're going to get into the convict era. We're going to go over the gold rush era for a minute, and then we're going to go into the decline and the Kelly gang era.
Gotcha. Yeah, but that's what. It's weird that they would get called bushrangers because, but like when you hear ranger, you think of like some type of law enforcement, don't you? Or some type of military
I mean, with how we've been taught and how ranger is used
or
today,
guide.
yeah, but I guess back then ranger meant was more of an adjective, like, oh, that, like, he's on, that dude's from the range, you know.
Gotcha. Okay.
But over 2,000 bushrangers are estimate to have roamed the Australian countryside, beginning with the convict bolters and drawing to a close after Ned Kelly's last stand in Glenrowan.
Hmm.
Bushranging began soon after British settlement with the establishment of New South Wales as a penal colony in 1788. The majority of early bushrangers were convicts who had escaped prison or from the properties of landowners to whom they had been assigned as servants. These bushrangers, also known as bolters, preferred the hazards of wild, unexplored bushland surrounding Sydney to the deprivation and brutality of convict life. The first notable bushranger, African convict John Caesar, robbed settlers for food and had a brief temptancy alliance with Aboriginal residents fighters during Pomeroy's War,
Hell
while
yeah.
other bushrangers would go on to fight alongside Indigenous Australians in frontier conflicts with the colonial authorities. The government tried to bring an end to any such collaboration by rewarding Aborigines for returning convicts to custody. Aboriginal
Aw.
trackers would play a significant role in the hunt for bushrangers. So they betrayed them
Mhm.
motherfuckers. They got fucking in the early days, the early fucking bushrangers, the bolters, they got fucking gat.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, here's more synchronicities with how we used the Native Americans too for like shit like that. I mean, we used them against each other, like certain tribes wipe out other tribes.
Yeah,
So it makes a lot of sense there.
Colonel Godfrey Mundy described convict bushrangers as desperate, hopeless, fearless, rendered so perhaps by the tyranny of a Gaulier of an overseer or of a master of whom he had been assigned. Edward Smith Hall, editor of early Sydney newspaper The Monitor, agreed that the convict system was a breeding ground for bushrangers due to its savagery, with starvation and acts of torture being rampant. Liberty or death was the cry of convict bushrangers, and in large numbers they roamed beyond Sydney, some hoping to reach China, which was commonly believed to be connected by an overland route. Them poor, sorry bastards.
Yeah, you have a better chance of getting to Antarctica. Sorry.
Like, holy shit. Oh, man. Some bolters seized boats and set sail for foreign lands, but most were hunted down and brought back to Australia. Others attempted to inspire an overhaul of the convict system or simply sought revenge on their captors.
I'm
This
kind of wondering. I wonder how many of them flowed into New Zealand.
Oh, that I don't know. I have no clue.
Be kind
Maybe
of interesting.
some of them will show up in our Highwayman series that's going to come up.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert for that.
because then they'd have to contend with the Maori down there, and that's that's a bit rougher than dealing with Aboriginals.
The latter desire found expression in the convict ballad Jim Jones at Botany Bay, in which Jones, the narrator, plans to join bushranger Jack Donho and gun the floggers down. Donho
Yeah.
was the most notorious of the early New South Wales bushrangers, terrorizing settlements outside Sydney from 1827 until he was fatally shot by a trooper in 1830.
1830. Okay, I'm getting a better mind for the time frame.
Yeah, yeah. The same year west of the west of the Blue Mountains, convict Ralph Entwistle sparked a bushranging insurgency known as the Bathurst Rebellion. He and his gang raided farmers, liberating assigned convicts by force in the process, and within a month his personnel army numbered 80 men. Following
Damn.
gun battles with vigilante posses, mounted policemen, and soldiers of the 39th and 57th Regiment of Foot, he and 9 of his men were captured and executed.
Damn. And what time frame was that?
That was the same year of 1830.
1830. Okay, so that's interesting because now, if we ever do get any mention of it, it would be interesting of like a comparison of something that's going on in New Zealand right now is the musket wars between.
Oh yeah, that.
So the Maori are at war all around those islands right now.
All
So
right.
there's bloodshed going all around because that's from musket wars start from 1807 and they don't officially until 1842.
Yeah, and that was like a brutal kind of war, wasn't it?
Yeah. That goes into a whole other thing that'll make me go into a tangent about Hangahika.
But we can't be doing that. We gotta move on.
Yes, we're
All right.
bush rangers.
Yes, convict bushrangers were particularly prevalent in the penal colony of Van Diemen's Land, now the state of Tasmania, established in 1803. The land's
Tasmania is their Alabama apparently.
Gotcha. Well, that it makes sense that they're prevalent in that in the early days.
It does.
The island's most powerful bushranger, the self-styled Lieutenant Governor of the Woods, Michael Howe, led a gang of up to 100 members in what amounted to a civil war with the colonial government. He controlled over large swaths of the island, prompted elite squatters from Habiter and Lanston to conclude with him, And for 6 months in 1815, Lieutenant Governor Thomas Davy, fearing a convict uprising, declared martial law in an effort to suppress Howe's influence. Most of the gang had either been captured or killed by 1818, the year Howe was clubbed to death. Shit.
That's like the most like the most caveman way of doing it. Like, hey, give him a clubbing. Just, I don't know if
Vandermanian
that's
Bush.
better,
Yeah. What
better or
was you gonna
worse
say?
than most. Because I don't know if that's better or worse than some of the execution methods that I hear of. That I don't know if I wonder if they'll mention some of them because I think there's a couple other execution methods done by bushrangers and cops to bushrangers that'll be a
Oh,
lot more brutal than just clubbing.
we'll definitely get into them. If not this episode, in future episodes, we'll definitely get into them.
Yeah.
All right, Vandemanian bushranging peaked in the 1820s with hundreds of bolters at large, among the most notorious being Matthew Brady's gang, cannibal serial killers Alexander Pierce and Thomas Jeffrey, and tracker turned resident leader Mosquito.
Oh, cannibal.
Oh, there was a cannibal in the fucking Matthew Brady's gang.
See, and I always never know. We always have to. Well, I guess when we actually get to them themselves, we can look into it. But I'm always skeptical because sometimes law enforcement would just kind of like tag that on to like make someone look more brutal than they were.
Yeah, for sure, but we we'll have to wait and see.
That's what I always kind of thought with the Sonny Bean plan.
Jackie, alias of William Westwood, was sent from New South Wales to Van Diemen's Land in 1842 after attempting to escape Cockatoo Island. In 1843, he escaped Port Arthur and took up bushranging in Tasmania's mountains, but was recaptured and sent to Norfolk Island, where a leader of the 1846 Cookpot Uprising, he murdered 3 constables and was hanged along with 16 of his men.
Escaped Cockatoo Island, which I believe will be coming up a lot.
Oh
It's
yeah, Cockatoo
basically
Island will be coming up a lot. And this was the convict era, by the way, that we've been going over, if that wasn't prevalent by how much I've been saying
Yeah.
convict. But the end of the convict bushranger era gradually faded with the decline in the Penal transportations to Australia in the 1840s. It had ceased by the 1850s to all colonies except Western Australia, which accepted convicts between 1850 and 1868. The best known convict bushranger of the colony was the prolific escapee, fucking Moondie Joe, which I can't fucking wait until we get into him.
Oh hell yeah!
He's gonna come up.
Oh, Moondad Joe.
But yes, and then after that, we have the Gold Rush era. This was from 1850s to the 1860s. The Bushrangers' heyday was the Gold Rush years of the 1850s and 1860s, as the discovery of gold gave bushrangers access to great wealth that was portable and easily converted to cash. Their task was assisted by the isolated location of the gold fields and police force decimated by troopers abandoning their duties to join the gold rush. Greedy sons of bitches.
Dropping their guns and going whoop, picking up the pickaxe.
There's some gold in them mountains.
Yeah, you ain't gonna be getting rich being a fucking cop, that's for sure. Especially that time.
Oh, that's for damn sure.
You're just gonna be a poor cop until you get shot. That's pretty much it.
George Melville was hanged in front of a large crowd. This is just that I'm just going on the. This is literally how it jumps in. George Melville was hung in front of a large crowd for robbing the Meckville Gold Escort near Castlemania in 1853. Bushranging numbers flourished in New South Wales with the rise of the colonial-born sons of poor, often ex-convict squatters, who were drawn to a more glamorous life than mining or farming. Much of the activity in this era was in the Lanchcolon Valley, around Forbes, Yass, and Carrow.
Mm-hmm.
The gardener, the Grenadier Hall gang, led by Frank Grenadier and Ben Hall, and counting John Dunn and John Gilbert and Fred Lowey among its members, were responsible for some of the most daring robberies of the 1860s, including the 1862 Escort Rock robbery, Australia's largest ever gold heist. The gang also engaged in many shootouts with the police, resulting in deaths on both sides. Other bushrangers active in New South Wales during this period, such as Don Morgan and the Clark brothers and their associates, murdered multiple policemen. Well, of course, they're getting fucking chased down, and they're gonna get killed if they get caught. Like, I hate to say it, most bushrangers killed a policeman in self-defense.
Yes,
We will come to find out.
and definitely at that time. I mean, it was as much as they did get caught. It's pretty likely that a cop wasn't going to take you alive.
Oh no, they weren't even trying to catch you. They were trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Like I said, like when we actually get into the bushrangers themselves, we'll come to see that it's most of the policemen murders, at least, are self-defense.
Yes.
As bushranging continued to escalate in the 1860s, the Parliament of New South Wales passed a bill, the Felons Apprehension Act of 1865, that effectively allowed anyone to shoot outlaw bushrangers on sight. By the time that the Clark brothers were captured and hanged in 1867, organized gang bushranging in North South Wales had effectively ceased.
Dang.
Captain Thunderbolt, alias of Frederick Ward, robbed inns and mall coaches across northern New South Wales for 6.5 years, one of the longest careers of any bushranger. He sometimes operated alone, at other times he led gangs, and was accompanied by his Aboriginal wife, Mary Ann Bugg, who is credited with helping extend his career. Oh, I can't wait until we get into them.
Oh yeah, a little, a little.
I spaced their episodes out so we can do like a little MCU kind of deal going.
Little Bonnie and Clyde thing going there.
Yeah, for sure. But we won't cover them together. They each, if I'm not mistaken, they each get a episode a piece themselves, and
nice.
there'll be some distance between them. So don't expect them to be right next to each other.
Gotcha.
All right, and now we're gonna get into the decline and the Kelly Gang of the 1870s and 1880s.
Kelly, got to bring it back.
Yeah, got one last shebang, one last outburst.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, the increasing push of settlement, increased police efficiency, improvements in rail transport and communications technologies such as telegraphy made it more difficult for bushrangers to evade capture. In 1870, Captain Thunderbolt was fatally shot by a policeman, and with his death, the New South Wales bushranging epidemic that began in the early 1860s came to an end. The
Fucking Captain fucking Thunderbolt. They got him.
The scholarly but erratic Captain Moonlight, alias of Andrew George Scott, worked as an angelic lay reader before turning to bushranging.
Okay.
Imprisoned in Ballarat for an armed bank robbery on the Victorian goldfields, he escaped but was soon recaptured and received a 10-year sentence in H.M. Prison, Pentridge. Within a year of his release in 1879, he and his gang held up the town of Watabadgery in Riverna. Two of the gang, including Moonlight's soulmate and alleged lover James Nisbet. Oh no! Damn! And one trooper was killed when the police attacked. Oh, poor Moonlight.
Damn. Oh,
His-
that's a whole. Man, we need movies about all these guys.
Poor James Nisbet. Ah, damn. I don't even know if he's on the list. But I guess he'll come up in Moonlight's episode.
Oh yeah.
Scott was found guilty of murder and hanged along with one of his accomplices on the January 20th, 1880. Among the last Bushrangers was the Kelly Gang in Victoria, led by Ned Kelly, Australia's most famous bushranger. After murdering 3 policemen in a shootout in 1878, the gang was outlawed, and after raiding towns and robbing banks into 1879, earned the distinction of having the largest reward ever placed on the heads of bushrangers. In 1880, after failing to derail and ambush a police train, the gang, clad in bulletproof armor they had devised, engaged in a shootout with the police. Ned Kelly, the only gang member to survive, was hanged at the Mulberg Galley in November 1880. And that was the end of the Bushrangers, basically.
And it would have went longer if he would have put leg armor on.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, but don't get into it. Don't get into it. Save it. Save it. But we can get into isolated outbreaks of the 1890s and early 20th century.
Sure.
In July 1900, the Governor Brothers, a trio group consisting of an Aboriginal fencing contractor named Jimmy Governor and his associates Joe Governor and Jack Underwood, perpetrated the Breelong Massacre, wounding 1 and killing 5 members of the Mobile family. The massacre sparked the Governor Brothers to engage in a crime spree across northern South Wales, triggering one of the largest manhunts in Australia history, with 2,000 armed civilians and police covering 3,000 kilometers of northern New South Wales in a search for the brothers. How the fuck were they gonna get out of that?
Nope. There's one thing that's more dangerous than an army of law enforcement is a fucking army of fucking
Armed civilians.
Yes, bumfuck armed civilians. That's the most dangerous that you'll ever find. Once those motherfuckers get all together and actually figure out to organize and try to get you, it's over.
Alright. The Governor Brothers was pursued by authorities for a total of 3 months, consequently being brought down on the 27th of October with the arrest of Jimmy Governor by a group of armed locals in Bobbin, New South Wales, and the death of his brother Joe Governor near Singleton, New South Wales, a few days later. Jack Underwood, who had been caught shortly after the Breelong Massacre, was hanged in Dubo Galley on January 14th, 1904. Holy
And
shit.
sorry, what valley?
Dubo.
Dubo.
Galley. Gallo.
Dubo Gallo.
Gallo. Yeah, Dubo Gallo.
It's gotta. I always love to just pause and then absorb those Australian ass names or
Yes.
places.
Alright, and Jimmy Governor was hanged in Darlinghurst Gallow on January 18th, 1901. Just 4 days later, they did not waste time.
Nope.
Boy Bushrangers, 1910s and 1920s. This is the official final phase of bushranging. This final phase of bushranging was sustained by the so-called boy bushrangers, youths who sought to commit crimes, mostly armed robberies modeled on the exploits of their bushranging heroes. The majority were captured alive without any fatalities.
Oh.
Boo. Boo.
They're like the Joker gang in Batman Beyond.
Yeah, for sure. The wannabes.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's the explanation of bushranging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we know.
Now
And
we
now
know.
we know.
And we will be getting into bushrangers from now on. This ain't the end of the episode. Each of these episodes will end with, because this is Bushrangers and Bloodborne. All episodes will awkwardly end with us taking out a boss.
Yes.
Let's get the fuck to it.
Bushrangers raiding in, baby.
Bushrangers raining in! Let's go, baby!
Let's go. I'm
Oh
in.
shit, oh shit, oh shit. Alright. Yes! Your boy!
Yeah.
Missed it with the urn. Oh well.
Oh, I missed.
Fuck you! Oh shit. I thought he was slamming me down for a second.
You charging it?
Oh shit, get his face, get his face, get his face! Yeah! Fuck your face.
Yeah. Oh! I'm good.
Why am I fucking missing? Fuck you. Ooh. That was my last Molotov. We got him.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Bushrangers.
Bushrangers.
Jackarama. And Snatch Bandicoot. We didn't even explain your name, but hey.
Oh yeah.
Next time.
Snatch Bandicoot.
Next episode. This will be a bye-bye.
Goodbye.